the flower that wouldn't grow. In a quiet garden, surrounded by soft mountains and gentle wind, there was a little flower that wouldn't grow. Every day, the gardener carefully watered it. The soil was fertile, the sunlight gentle, yet its stem remained weak, and its petals stayed closed. Monks from the nearby temple often passed by and wondered, "Why doesn't this flower bloom when it has everything it needs?" An old monk, with a calm gaze, replied, "Perhaps it's not ready. Maybe it's not about lack, but about timing." In life, it's the same. We often get frustrated when our projects, dreams, or even our own hearts don't seem to grow as fast as we want. But Zen wisdom reminds us that every process has its own pace. Neither sunlight nor water can force a flower to bloom before it's ready. If you feel stuck, remember, true transformation happens quietly, beneath the surface, where no one sees it. Patience is the soil where real strength grows. The gardener began to doubt. Each morning, he checked the flower, hoping to see change. He compared it to other flowers that grew quickly and thought, "Maybe this plant is broken. Maybe I did something wrong." The old monk stopped him and said, "Don't confuse stillness with failure. What you don't see is just as important as what you do." Beneath the soil, the flower's roots were slowly spreading, seeking nourishment. Before it could show its beauty to the world, it needed to establish itself deeply. We are the same. When we feel stagnant, something profound is growing inside us. Does the river rush to reach the sea? Does the moon worry about rising each night? Nature doesn't hurry, yet everything happens in its own time. When you understand this, you realize waiting is not emptiness. It's silent preparation. Learning not to force life is one of Zen's greatest secrets. One day, the weary gardener decided to help the flower. With his hands, he tried to open the tiny closed petals. But when he touched them, the petals tore. The old monk watched quietly and said, "This is what we do to our own lives when we don't respect the time needed to mature. We force things, relationships, decisions, personal growth. And by forcing, we only hurt ourselves." Zen teaches that patience is not doing nothing, but quietly cultivating, trusting the invisible, and letting things happen in their own time. True strength is not in controlling the outcome, it is in flowing with the process. The gardener realized his mistake. He stopped demanding growth and began caring for the flower with respect, without expecting results. Weeks passed. The gardener continued to water the flower without hurry or anxiety. He no longer checked daily for changes but simply tended to it, trusting that something unseen was happening. One morning, the old monk said, "Do you feel it? The soil feels different." The gardener, surprised, placed his hand on the damp earth. He didn't see anything, but he felt a subtle warmth, as if life was moving below. "Is this the change?" he asked. "It is the beginning," the monk replied. "Before opening its eyes, a seed learns to dream. So it is with us. Silence is fertile. When it seems nothing is happening, life is quietly reorganizing. Sometimes we need these quiet periods to develop the strength that will later sustain our growth." The flower still hadn't opened, but it no longer mattered. The gardener understood that blooming is not a goal, but a moment that arrives when we are ready. One morning, without warning, the flower appeared different. Its petals, once tightly closed, had begun to open, revealing soft color. No one knew exactly when it happened, not the gardener, nor the monks who passed by each day. The old monk smiled. Everything true arrives quietly, without rush or announcement. The gardener understood that growth does not follow human clocks or schedules. Life blooms when internal conditions are right, not when the world demands it. The same happens to us. When we feel that nothing is happening, deep changes are occurring. One day, suddenly, we awaken to discover we are different. What once seemed impossible now unfolds naturally. The secret is to care without controlling, nurture without rushing, and trust without demanding. Days passed, and the flower fully opened. Its color was more vibrant than anyone expected, and its fragrance filled the garden with gentle sweetness. The gardener, seeing it, felt deep respect. He had done nothing to force it, yet the flower responded to his patient care. The old monk said, "See, it didn't need your hurry, only your presence." This is the heart of Zen. Authentic growth cannot be forced. A tree doesn't push its branches to bear fruit. A cloud doesn't hurry the rain. Everything happens in its own time. In life, we often become impatient when we don't see immediate results. We want love now, success now, personal change now. But real growth is quiet and deep. First we root, and then, naturally, we awaken blooming. The flower that wouldn't grow had been a reminder all along. Patience is the ground where true strength flourishes. With the flower fully open, the gardener realized that this lesson was not only for his garden but for his own life. "I have also tried to force my path," he thought, "and I've been frustrated when things didn't go as I wanted." The monk explained, "Every person is like this flower. Sometimes we feel stuck, that we're not progressing. But even then, profound things are happening inside. Learning to trust that process is learning to live in peace." The flower didn't struggle to open. It simply waited for the right moment, and its beauty came naturally. Likewise, we don't need to force ourselves to be who we are. Life shapes us while we walk, not while we rush. The gardener promised himself he would no longer measure life by immediate results, but by the serenity of tending it day by day. With the flower fully open, the gardener realized that this lesson was not only for his garden but for his own life. "I have also tried to force my path," he thought, "and I've been frustrated when things didn't go as I wanted." The monk explained, "Every person is like this flower. Sometimes we feel stuck, that we're not progressing. But even then, profound things are happening inside. Learning to trust that process is learning to live in peace." The flower didn't struggle to open. It simply waited for the right moment, and its beauty came naturally. Likewise, we don't need to force ourselves to be who we are. Life shapes us while we walk, not while we rush. The gardener promised himself he would no longer measure life by immediate results, but by the serenity of tending it day by day.